Hello, guys. That was my obligatory smile for Facebook, because otherwise they take a hideous picture of you looking like a monster, which apparently I am if you look at TikTok and the level of responses from people on there. You are a Trump-loving monster, which somebody actually said today. Got the first bit right, but cross me and you'll see how much of a monster I can be. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Xander Gibb Show. I am, of course, Xander Gibb, bringing you the best in Patriot broadcasting. We are just in pre-production mode, and Facebook is giving me grief just for a change. So unlike Facebook to do this, we're just sharing the show, and you can do the same too. We will be getting started in just a minute. Got some great guests, some great callers, some brilliant topics coming up for you on tonight's edition. Yes, that's true. So how many of you out there are actually on TikTok? I'm curious. It's an odd animal. It's a bit like what Twitter used to be like back in the day. You can say what you please. It's a China. It's a Chinese-owned organization, and they're talking about banning it in the USA. But I kind of think that gives them more credence and kudos and all of these things. So I don't know if that actually makes a difference, banning something. But I'll be on there for the foreseeable future until they ban me, or at least until the election is over, when I will be checking into a sanitarium in Santa Monica, probably. Thank you for all the nice comments that people sent me about my hair. It is my own. It's not a wig, as some have suggested, and it's not some dyed segments of Trump hair that was cut off. I have to put together a compilation of all the funny things that people say, and they think they're hurting you. But my ideology is, how can you hurt my feelings if I don't even know you? Oh, I'm crying every day at the nasty things you say to me, you fat, ugly homosexual. Tell me something I don't know. But, I'm hoping things will calm down a little bit on November 4th, when Donald Trump enters his second term of office. I'm hoping that really does kind of calm things down a bit, but the level of hate out there right now is, it's too much. So we are just sharing the show in various places and encouraging you to do the same. Because if you don't share it, I'm going to send the gay mafia around to your house to do your hair, clean your carpets, and do your makeup too. And that's just the mem. I'm joking. It's the women as well, because they probably need it more than. Right, let's get this going. Let's open up the page so I can see who is in the live feed, and then we're going to do some sharing to Facebook. Some of the groups on there, the ones that haven't banned me yet. Here we go. Got the whirly thing. Hi, chat. Hi, Carla. Hi, Yaz. Welcome. Hope you're good. I got a lovely message from Lily yesterday via your mom. Hello to my Gina, because they probably need it more. Shut up, Xander. We are just getting set up for the Xander Gibb Show. I'm just going to finally share to a few groups. Thank you very much, Chet, for sharing up. Thank you for leading by example, my brother. I hope things are good out there for you on Long Island. Yes, right. So if I go silent for a second, it is because I'm sharing and trying to avoid sharing to groups that I shouldn't, because I really am not in the mood for death threats. tonight. They'll probably get as good as they gave or give even. I am cooking a chicken if anybody is interested. It's on don't have gas here, unfortunately. It's on electric 200, and I will be having some of that later. If anybody wants to drop by and have some freshly cooked chicken. Here we go. No, not going into there or there. No, we're nearly there. We are getting to the fifth and final furlong. I feel like I am what's the word? Commentating on a horse race. We are ready to go live. We are going to just go to the opening credits and share, click start. My brain just won't work tonight. Right, there we go. We are going to go into the opening titles in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It has to me this time around. Things were never bound to change when it was found. Sugar never tasted sweeter on my lips. My heart is now intact and I can find no ribs. This is love, yeah, love. Never known true love before. Seen so many counterfeits that left me on the floor. This is love, yeah, love. All will come to those who wait. Time it cannot know the bounds, and era don't dictate.
Well, hello and welcome to today's edition of the Xander Gibb Show, the talk show that really does get you talking on the Xandermonium Network, live from an undisclosed location. And no, it's not my mother's basement. It's your mother's basement, so bring me some cookies down. Bringing you the best in Patriot broadcasting 5 nights a week. I'm Xander Gibb, because who else would I be? On tonight's edition, I get on my soapbox, breaking down and analyzing the real news, and give you a chance to get on yours in our phone-in later in the show, which will be at a different time tonight. It will be after our guest, that guest will be the fabulous political commentator Mark Sutherland, who will be joining us in the first segment of the show. You can leave your comments below in the live feed, and as usual, I'll be sharing them as we go along. So make sure you keep them clean-ish. You can follow me on social media everywhere but Twitter, because I'm still suspended, and I don't know why, and I don't really care. But obviously, Zuck is triggered. Not Zuck, that's Facebook, isn't it? Jack is triggered because he can't get any Chick-fil-A. And you can also check me out at xandergibb.com. That's xandergibb.com. You can check me out there. Let's come to the live feed and see who is in the live feed and say hello to everybody individually. Here we go. Going all the way back. Hello to chat. Hello to Carla. Hi to Yaz. Lots of love to Lily. Chet says he was just bit slapping a libtard. Yeah, there's some therapeutic value to that, I think. Hello to Carla. Welcome. Hello to my Gina. Hello to who else is there? Hello to Maria. Welcome to the live feed. Hello to who else is there? I'm scooting by and making sure I don't miss any names. Hello to anybody that's watching, but not actually in the live feed. I see you in the numbers, but I don't see anybody else in the live feed. Come and join us. We don't bite, and we don't have to agree. And I really want to make this point. I had a conversation with a young man tonight on Instagram who really had a little bit of disdain for Trump, and I think you might be watching now. And I just kind of want you to know that it's fine to disagree, but please, and this goes out to everybody out there, check your sources, because every media outlet is biased as to who is paying the bill. And so it's imperative to make sure that you check your facts. I am missing you too, guys. We will have to get together very soon. Give Lily a big kiss from me. And now it's time for Xander's news of the day. So the Trump administration is holding talks with Oregon's governor about containing anti-racism protests in Portland after clashes with federal officers guarding facilities there. But President Trump said today that federal agents would not be pulled out of the city until it was secured. VP Mike Pence said the administration was talking with Oregon's Democratic Governor Kate Brown. He did not provide details. President Trump said at the White House the federal presence would remain for now. We're not leaving until they secure the city. We told the governor, we told the mayor, secure your city, Trump said, repeating his threat to send more federal officers if the situation gets worse. The violence in Portland has got to stop. It's clear that the local leadership and the mayor of Portland are not willing to step up. That's why we're talking to Governor Kate Brown and the state of Oregon about working a way forward. So here's what I don't get. So all of these Democratic governors are allowing their states and cities to have these violent protests going on, because the Constitution allows you the right to peaceful protest, but nothing else. So if you then don't allow the police to do their job and it gets worse, who is to blame but the leadership of those states for that situation? I think really it's a very simple one. The Democratic governors need to get off their ass and open up the states. Tommy Robinson says he has gone abroad and is seeking to relocate because he believes his family are no longer safe in the UK. A video circulating on social media shows Mr. Robinson discussing an arson incident several weeks ago. It was targeted against my wife's property, he said. At that point, we left the country straight away, and I'm looking at relocating my family, which is pretty hard to do, especially with the COVID pandemic. I couldn't even get a hotel. During the video, Mr. Robinson, whose real name is Stephen Yaxley Lennon, refers to a recently imposed 14-day quarantine, leading to speculation he might be in Spain. Someone said he only wanted to save the children from these Pakistani rape gangs, but he gets hated on so much. Why is it in society that so many people who try and make a difference are vilified for trying to make a difference? Hi to CV. Hello to Carol. Welcome to the show. For me, it angers me so much. I mean, whether you agree or disagree with Tommy Robinson's methods, his ideology was actually to highlight. Hi to Dave. Welcome to the live feed, Goats Lives Matter. Something very interesting for you later on in the show, brother. Yes, it is Xan o'clock. Are you ready to be sanitized? I kind of, the thing is for me about Tommy Robinson, regardless if you agree with his methodology, you have to agree with his ideology. And surely stopping pedophile Pakistani rape gangs from attacking young girls has to be precedent. And I would think that the British government would be wanting to do that too. The next item, Joe Biden was uncharacteristically tight-lipped on Tuesday about the final stretch of his search for a vice president. But the presumptive Democratic presidential nominee seemed prepared to talk about at least one leading contender, California Senator Kamala Harris. I wonder if the vice bit was what made him make the connection. As he took questions from reporters, he also noted that had notes that were captured by the Associated Press photographer. Harris's name was scrawled across the top, followed by 5 talking points. Do not hold grudges. Campaigned with me and Jill. talented, great help to the campaign, great respect for her. I hear she's great on her knees, according to Judge Gibb. That's something I added. But don't mention this until after she is VP. These are all observations Biden made, apart from the one that I added after. About Harris, but they take on a new significance now following a Politico report that one of Biden's closest friends and a co-chair of his vice presidential vetting committee, former Connecticut Senator Chris Dodd, still harbors concerns about Harris' tough debate stage performance and that she hasn't expressed regret. But let's face it, she hasn't expressed regret for much. And that's kind of concerning for me because we all know how she got to where she is. And I can't say good on her, but because, most people have actually done it through, kind of traditional methods, shall we say. CV says, that's why I wear headphones. Why is that? Gina says, Dave, keep the goats quiet too. Carol says, I think the Dems are helping out Biden with his meds. Well, if he's not on them, I think he really needs to be. It is a concern for me. So Prince William appeared on a special episode of former soccer player Peter Crouch's podcast recently. He said the worst gift he ever bought Kate Middleton was a pair of binoculars, and I thought it was going to be jewelry, a pearl necklace, maybe. She was looking at me going, they're binoculars, what's going on? William recalled. What do you do when you're obscenely wealthy and you have a literal team of staff who source your every whim and your beloved then girlfriend needs a gift? Well, if you're Prince William, you absolutely spiral and buy her something better suited to your elderly aunt who likes to birdwatch on a Sunday morning. A pair of binoculars. I was trying to convince myself about it, but I was like, these are really crazy. These are amazing. How far can you see? Unsurprisingly, Kate was not convinced. And William admitted at the time, they're binoculars. What's going on? It didn't go well. Honestly, he said, if I'd had any inkling that this was the case, I wouldn't have given her binoculars. I don't know. That's a very unsexy gift, Wills, to be giving. I think she would have preferred the pearl necklace. Apparently, the goats are listening to Van Halen. Carla says, hi, CV. And finally, you'll like this, Dave, so prick up your ears, buddy. And finally, the farm at the center of a horrific goat cruelty scandal revealed by The Independent may have to be shut down, its owner has said. Animals were secretly being filmed, punched, kicked, and slammed on their back at Farmarsh Farm near Hull in East Yorkshire. Tesco, Waitrose, Sainsbury's, and Marks and Spencer all said they should immediately drop St. Helens Farm Dairy. Their products are made using milk produced at the farm after being alerted to the brutality on Monday. On Tuesday, they did likewise. Now, the founder of Yorkshire Dairy Goats, which owns the farm, said he's disgusted in what he saw. And video says it is facing having to close the 4,000 animal site if he cannot salvage his reputation. Once again, we were ahead of the curve, folks, proving that goats' lives do indeed matter. Yes, they do. I'm sure you, if you watch the show regularly, you'll know what we are referring to. Oh, yes, Siri. And don't forget about our drinking game, which is every time one of us says goats' lives matter, or I say yes, Siri, because apparently I say it quite often, you can take a sip of whatever takes your fancy. I just got a notification from YouTube. Someone just sent me on a page that was kind of having a go at Trump, and because I defended him, this woman, I'm going to call her out. She's called Rebecca Kahn, and she's saying, well, I'll show you what she's saying. She's saying Xander Gibb for murder. So she wants me to be killed for my opinions. It's kind of worrying. Hello to Swoop. Welcome. We have time for one quick call, but we will be doing the main phone in afterwards. If you want to give us a quick call now, you can call us on 0208 133 5274 if you're calling from the United Kingdom. And if you're calling from the United States, you can call us on 845-363-4747. That's 845-363-4747 if you're calling from the United States. And if you're calling from the UK, as I said, it's 0208-133-5274. Gosh, it's got extremely chilly. It was like 69 degrees today, and it's like 53 now. It's worrying. Chet says, where is that bitch from? I don't know. I really don't know, but I will have a look afterwards, and I will report her to YouTube. Because the thing is, for me, I keep coming back to the same thing. It's absolutely fine to disagree, but when you're saying you want people killed for disagreeing with you, I find that most concerning. If you are getting kicked out of the live feed on Facebook, I'm getting a couple of messages saying that, but keep coming back. Let's not let them win. Let Zuckerberg win, him and his mail order bride. Chet says, my joke is as dirty as hell. Not sure it will be kosher. As I said to my guest tonight is Mark Sutherland, international political commentator. He's going to be calling us in a little while, but we've got time for probably one quick call. You can call us on 845-363-4747 if you're calling from the United States. And if you're calling from the United Kingdom, mate, you can call us on 0208-133-5274. The numbers are across the top of the screen. Did you see that today President Trump had agreed with some doctor who had said that it was called the whatever the hell it's called, HQC was safe. Because he agreed with her on that, they've really kind of gone to town on him about that, and it means now that he supports absolutely everything that she says, which is absolutely ridiculous. You know what? I agree with some things that Katie, what's her name? Katie, can't remember her last name. But I don't agree with everything she says. Just because you agree with one thing that someone says, it does not mean that we agree with everything they say. Chet says leftists kill babies on the table. They love dad. CV says yak wives blabber. I don't know what is smoking tonight. And Swoop says you're up, Chet. Yeah. Absolutely, totally woke, folks. We've got time for probably one quick call, but we will be having our main phone-in session after our guest. You can call us on 845-363-4747 if you're in the United States. And if you're in the United Kingdom, 0208-133-5274. That's 0208-133-5274. I think that, we're going to go on hiatus after the election with this show. Because it becomes so difficult on the front line doing this every day with the level of attack. I can deal with most things, but threatening to kill me, I don't know, I take that personally. I mean, usually that privilege is reserved for my family. Carol says, always ripping Trump. He's really, for the people, they should appreciate our president. Absolutely, Carol, they should. And I think a huge part of the problem is that they don't have a good appreciation of what he's done. And I think, feel free to do that, Chet. That's absolutely fine, brother. The thing is, for me, with regards to, just some of the silly stuff that they say that he's racist. Donald Trump is a racist, and he's the first president in 50 years to introduce a program like the First Step program, which actually tries to get black people out of poverty. So yeah, only a racist would do that. And the other thing is the lowest unemployment rates for like ever, like not just in 10 years or 20 years, pre-COVID, the lowest black unemployment rates ever. And I think the thing is, for me, that this is what I want to harp back to what I was saying earlier about the conversation I had with the young man on Instagram. It's actually imperative to check your facts. And what's the other thing with regards to racism? They say, oh yeah, he wouldn't let to black people in the 70s. Now here's the thing for me. The only reason you should not let to someone is if they can't afford the rent. And I don't believe that these people were turned down because of the color of their skin. You know, the properties that they rented out were kind of like quite high end. And I think that I can't speak for what his father did. I can't really speak for what he did. But are we now guilty for what our fathers did? If his father did that to people, is that his fault? So in that case, then, you know, Barack Obama, you know, his priest, Jeremiah Wright, was is totally racist. So does that mean that Barack Obama is racist too? Okay, bad example. Ha ha. What is what from? Chet says he's so racist on the fact that Dom Lemonade says so. Yeah, but sorry, Chet, you have to pronounce his name properly. His name is Dom Lemon, not Don Lemon. No, he's gone all posh. He's Don Lemon. So now I'm going to start calling myself. It's not Xander Gibb. It's Xander Gibb. Xander Gibb. So we all have to have posh names now. So I'm going to start introducing my first guest who will be calling us any minute now. He is an international political commentator, and he is Mark Sutherland, and he's going to be calling us from the UK any minute now. When you think it's perfect, when I say any minute now, you know, the phone rings just like that. Chet says, Zan, you need those spectacles. No, I don't. I really don't. Someone is messaging me. It's Mark. He said he's going to call in 2 minutes. Hello to Pamela. I hope you're good. Welcome to the live feed. No, I'm just tired today, and so I'm on auto, and it's really hard. CV says if patriots are everything they accuse of us of, they better tread lightly. Yeah, they better. Let me go back and see what Chet's comment was, because I didn't understand it. What is that from again? Oh, I was replying to CV. I see. I do apologize. I truly do. Oh, Breaking Bad. Right, Breaking Bad. Yeah, never really got into that. Wasn't that the guy from Malcolm in the Middle, like the dad from Malcolm in the Middle? This should be our first guest of the night, the one, the only, the fabulous Mr. Mark Sutherland. Welcome back to the show, Mark. How is the world with you? Thank you for joining us.
Well, the world is okay with me. I mean, we're still amidst the stupidity, so it's the mental challenge that I think we're all having every day, sir.
Absolutely. That's the left for you, and it gets crazier. I've had, since I've been on air, I've had, like, you know, a death threat on YouTube, so I'll be dealing with that afterwards and making sure that person's account is removed. So I want to jump right in. So much to discuss. Now, the NHS, which is the National Health Service, it's the kind of healthcare body in the UK, has discharged 25,000. Sorry, my teleprompter. 25,000 patients without testing for COVID, and they. I'm sorry, the teleprompter messed up. And they put them into care homes without even testing them. One has to question if anything was learned from the terrible example given by Andrew Cuomo, governor of New York. Don't we have to expect better from the NHS?
Well, I mean, the fact is that particular individuals that are in nursing homes are of a particular age.
Right.
They have various concerns health-wise, and as someone who has come to my attention, as someone who works in the will business in the Huntington area, who raised concerns in the end, went public on YouTube in regard to she was going into nursing homes and there was all this, protection PPE, but she was also concerned about the fact that relatives couldn't go in there, see them, and there seemed a sense of abandonment, really. And of course, we've also had the case that various people may have died, and they've died of other causes, and
right.
then everyone has said, oh, they've died from COVID-19. I'm not saying these things to be provocative, but it's very, very important because this kind of evidence and chatter is actually out there. The big problem is that these PCR tests that are done, they're not accurate at all, in fact. And I can't think of the man that created it off the top of my head, but John Rappaport on No More Fake News, who's a real expert of 20, 25 years plus looking in these pandemics, etc., and what happens, has said that these PCR tests are not accurate. Now, discharging people back out, and then suddenly it'd be like, oh, we've now tested all these people, now they've got corona, so that must mean that we can now lock down again, and it's the second wave. The fact is that for these people, they need to be looked after, they need to be secure, they're in the nursing homes. The fact is that there needs to be, good air ventilation, etc. And there has been cases that people, it seems, that we get the impression that may have been sort of left on their own and extremely isolated.
Absolutely.
The isolation would have damaged their health again.
I mean, I know we've talked about this before, and you said, that you felt that, anybody that was left in this situation to handle this I'm talking about with regards to Boris Johnson, would not have found it so easy. But I do find some of his levels of response concerning. Don't you agree?
Well, yeah, I do. I mean, to be honest, it's now, we've got another in 2 weeks' time, we might have to have another lockdown. On what? In what regard?
Please.
Why? Yeah. We're testing we found a load of cases. Well, there's a discrepancy between let's look at cases and let's look at deaths, and then let's look at the death rate that happens in regard to other diseases, etc. That would be, say, if we look at the figures last year, etc. There's a big discrepancy.
Of course,
they're exactly the same, or we could say that because everyone's going, oh, it's a COVID death, and suddenly we seem to have cured cancer and a load of other illnesses that
exactly.
people have.
But there are another couple of salient points with regards to that for me, because if you're testing more people, historically you're going to actually find more people that have it. But also, here's the other thing, and we've actually had nurses and medical professionals tell us this. They've sent in kind of like fake tests, kind of like tests with nothing on it, and they've come back as positive. So it's clear that there is an issue with the testing. But the other thing for me, this is not to decry anyone that's died, because I'm very sad for anyone that's family has died. But Professor Carol Sikora said that anyone that's died of COVID was really on their last legs anyway, because if your immune system is that bad that a virus like that is going to kill you, the flu would have killed you too.
Well, absolutely. And there's a 99% recovery rate in regard to this. Plus, there's also been, when we talk about the testing, there's been anecdotal evidence of people waiting to go and have a test. They've waited far too long. They've given their name and address, and they haven't actually had any swab near them. And then off they've driven, and then later on they've got the results saying, oh, you've tested positive for COVID, and no one's actually been near them.
No.
This is, as far as I'm concerned, one big scam in that regard.
And didn't we...
I'm not saying that something hasn't been released out of China, out of a Wuhan lab.
Right.
Let's just say that.
Yeah.
And now suddenly, and there was a wonderful doctor called Dr. Graves that a friend of mine, Eli Marzulli, interviewed a few days ago. And now they're talking about COVID-20 that's been released from Russia. I've then heard anecdotally today in Canada, in British Columbia, where people dial 811, which is some kind of private body in regard to health advice. They were dealing with 1,500 cases a day of phone calls a day. Now it's gone up to 3,500.
Wow.
And they're saying that the next wave is there. Well, we need to ask ourselves a serious question. What is this wave and how has it actually got there? We've also had these doctors on Washington, D.C., group of the white coats speaking out, talking about hydrochloroquine as the cure here, etc. There was that wonderful Nigerian American who was talking about this and saying that I've treated, my patients of all different ages with hydrochloroquine.
Is this the one that Trump quoted?
Direction, but this is important.
Right. Is this the woman that Trump quoted and they beat him up for the last 2 days about it because her ideas on some other things are not what they would hope it to be? Is that the same lady you're talking about?
Oh, yeah, that is the same lady who, as a very Bible-believing, committed Christian like myself, would believe in healing and all the rest of what Scripture says. And of course, the left, which is wanting their utopian dream without any sense of spirituality that seems to involve Jesus. No, we can't have that.
No,
and that is what this is about. And we have never. And again, the censorship on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, etc. It's been an absolutely incredible attack. And we're slightly digressing, but look at the antitrust investigations that have already started on Capitol Hill and the interview with all the top notch who run these companies of
absolutely
left with censorship.
And the other thing that really kind of bothered me today, I don't know if you saw this on the news, but Spain has been put on on this list of countries that you have to be in quarantine for 14 days when you return from. But they offered today, the British government said, if you pay £120 for a test yourself, and if it comes back negative, you don't have to go into quarantine. Why should people in this country, given the level of healthcare that we have, given that we pay into it, through our taxes, etc., why should people be paying for COVID testing?
Well, I completely agree, and I'm also beginning to profoundly question the level of healthcare, because one thing that we should be advising is preventative. The doctors need to be talking about building people's immunity, growing food in their own gardens, going back to natural medicine and stuff like that, and empowering ourselves, and more importantly, moving away from vaccines or any injection, etc. And of course, that's bound to be, that's not popular, is it?
No.
Mr. Boris Johnson has had a go at anti-vaxxers and called us nuts a few days ago. No, why should we pay for this? I think what we need to do is all send the bill to the Economic Forum 2020, who are actually, and all the people that go to Davos, and I'm not making this up, who are actually causing this and have decided to be part of contributing to the United Kingdom kicking 25% of its gross domestic product off a cliff, making half of the working population in this country depending on government handouts for a period of time, and wrecking businesses all over the place, because this is deliberate. And I'm going to say it, this next January, and start paying attention, everybody. Pay attention to a meeting in June in regard to the Great Reset and Prince Charles and other idiots et al. Talking about this for the fourth industrial revolution of green and all the rest. And I'm not making this up.
No.
You caused it.
The
Why
new
should
system.
we have to pay for it?
The new system. That's kind of a great segue into the next thing that I want to talk to you about, Mark, because this week President Trump's administration signed off on a partnership with Kodak to begin producing critical pharmaceutical ingredients in the United States. America is dangerously dependent on foreign supply chains for 3 stages of drug production: starting materials used to manufacture active ingredients, the active ingredients themselves, and the finished product in the form of tablets, pills, and injectables. The Kodak project is a win for the Defense Production Act and a big win for New York and the nation. It is a huge step forward towards pharmaceutical independence for the U.S. America is in this situation due to Bush and Clinton and globalists setting the U.S. On a path to dependency on China, because that's how we say it on this show. But sadly, the UK is not far behind.
Well, absolutely. And of course, we have to chuck in Obama as well.
Yeah.
They are all globalists. And then when we've discussed before, you and I, if, Kissinger persuading Nixon to go and have a meeting in 1972, we then have to remember where Rockefeller, was delighted with the social experiment which Mao was then putting forward, and in regard to oppression of millions and millions of people in China.
Right.
That's it. And so if we then decide to move all of the manufacturing of the world into one country, then we're suddenly dependent on it, and then we wonder why they've got their tentacles in every single country in the every single area in the world, and there is a massive Belt and Road takeover via communism. In other words, any opportunity that we can now get to get manufacturing out of that country and back to individual countries is an excellent thing.
It is.
Because China, as we say on this program, is at war. This is a fourth generational war against the Western world, against the rest of the world, because it means that you don't have to bomb people, but what you then do is
control them via other methods
to the countries, but you still have the infrastructure, and then you can go in and take it over.
But don't you see this is intertwined with the EU? Because we America has this problem with this situation with China, but in the UK we have this situation with Europe, and it's all about control. And they've used this control for 40 years to take away all of our manufacturing, all of our growing of our own food. So we've become totally reliant on the EU, and they've thrown us some financial scraps to those industries, to the fishing, farming, etc. industries. And now, we've got our balls back as a nation, and America is following suit too.
Yes, well, I completely and utterly agree, and it's very interesting because, as the Duran report did an excellent interview today, talking about the fact that the EU could completely bust up because Italy is in huge financial problems.
Yeah.
And then suddenly they've got to borrow more. They've got debts to repay by the end of the year, and they've got to borrow more money. There is all this interdependency, which is really important. As soon as the Italians actually bring the Italian lira back and get on, they are the second biggest manufacturing base within Europe after, of course, it's Germany, then them, which is quite incredible. So yes, you are absolutely right, because the EU, and you and I have to have an hour conversation on this and go through various history. Yeah. But the EU is a leg of global governance, and suddenly they're reshifting of this slush fund, as we call it, means that they are now bordering on being the federalist state, and they act as one for all the other members.
Well, what do you make of the idiocy of the leadership in Scotland? They want independence from the UK, but they still want to be a part of the EU. But the EU have said recently that they don't want them on their own because they will be like 1% of the EU. So they will be totally controlled by the EU. But there was, I'm terrible with figures, but apparently in 1 year, it's cost £72 million to run Scotland, and they were 12 million. They're 12 million short of that from the income from Scottish residents. So the shortfall has been made up every year from the UK, from Great Britain. So if they want their independence, let them have it, but they're not getting the bailouts as well. It's all connected.
I think you'll find that a number of people, many people in Scotland don't want that independence. But the fact is that we need to be encouraging entrepreneurialism up and down this country.
Right.
And we shouldn't, Mr. Boris Johnson thinking that by giving money to AstraZeneca as a way that you're going to generate a heck of a lot of money in this country. For crying out loud, no, you're just going to produce a load of vaccines, and then that's another issue. But yes, you're right. But the problem is, it's a socialist way of thinking.
It is.
She only wants to stay in the EU because she sees the fact that there's a huge budget discrepancy to balance, and it's not good. And the fact is, she needs to open up that country like we need to open up the country, like Wales needs to open the country. Remember that all this push for regionalisation and Scottish government, Welsh, Scottish Assembly, Welsh Assembly, is all under the guise of the EU anyway in regard to regions.
Of course.
We declined a northern northern region.
Yeah.
There was a massive push for that.
Exactly.
But they're not making any of that up at all, because that is within the European political edict. That's what they wanted to do. That's what they were very angry that we left, even though it's been revealing to us that various people, under the 48th group as well, Mr. Blair, Hasseltine, Clark, well, not necessarily Clark, but Jack Straw-Rattal, as well as having dealings with China. And these people would turn around
China!
As soon as we can, we're going to go China. We're going to go back into the EU.
Didn't you find it?
We are not.
No way. Didn't you find it interesting that Emmanuel Macron, the French president or prime minister, whatever the hell the little froggy kid is,
president,
his only concern was, we want to still be able to fish in your waters. That's the only thing we want to continue. Well, you've already messed up the fishing industry, Europe. Thank you very much. So my response to you, Mr. Macron, is to say, encule-moi.
Absolutely, and your mother smells of elderberries, and your father is a hamster. I mean, absolutely. But they want their cake and they want to eat it.
They do.
Let's get all the isms out there. No, it's deep. I mean, Macron has huge problems in his own country, and he still has the whole yellow vest thing to solve, which he's completely and utterly ignoring, where fuel prices go up and people then can't conduct their businesses or their lives in the country parts of France, way outside various cities there. This is deeply, deeply concerning, but it's the arrogance of actually not caring about the people.
Right.
And this is all, and as we know, this virus, this pandemic then divided European Union, because they suddenly discovered that they needed borders again.
Right, but isn't it interesting how planned it was? Because look what happened in France and Germany when they let in all of those supposed refugees. Well, they were all men, so where were the women and children? And I'm not saying it was their fault that the pandemic occurred. Hi to Russ, who just joined the live feed. But isn't it interesting how planned all of these things are? They bring in all of those refugees. They're so destructive, the majority of them, rioting and all of these other things, because they want to bring this discord to have this one world order. That's what they're aiming for.
Absolutely. And Batailleur's book, Eurasia, written in 2006, talks about the fact that the European Union then went with the Arab League, etc., deliberately on this issue. It's all written. There. When we sign up to the Global Immigration Compact, and I wrote to my member of Parliament about that. Oh no, it's not going to be that effective. It's not going to destabilise us or whatever. I mean, they are the biggest bunch of liars going. And we have to remember the 1997, I think, Barcelona agreement and meeting on this.
Absolutely.
They have constantly, and mainly led by the French, and because of historically in regard to Morocco and other territories that they have had in the past, they have then deliberately looked to the Arab world. And yes, it is about the destabilization, because Mr. Soros wants to has continued to encourage that, and it's a breakdown of borders, and it is a one world government. And yes, you're absolutely right. And before people think that we're raving nutters, No, we're not, because Mr. Blair, unfortunately, and Gordon Brown, a number of weeks ago, have called for that, have called for this unification in regard to that and how they proceed to tackle this problem. And also, as I warn, I'm going to say this again, next January, keep an eye on the Economic Forum 2020.
Right.
Everyone who has the, very kindly listening to us having a conversation, go on the website now. Look at what they said last June. They're talking about a great reset. They actually want, this is about, taking money from everyone, and I joke not, because we have, the money in the bank is digitalized, and they want to give everyone an ID, go and look it up, and then they want to spread the wealth round.
Let me ask you one final question, because we are out of time. I'm just very interested quickly in your take on this. Isn't it interesting how much Margaret Thatcher was right about? Now she's gone. If she was resurrected today, I think her first words would be, "I told you so," because she predicted a lot of this, didn't she?
Well, she did. I mean, when she used to sit, remember she supported Ted Heath in regard to taking us into the EU. By the time she wrote her autobiography, I can't remember whether that was 2010, 12, can't remember. But by the time she did that, she wrote very famously that the European Union would look back as one of the biggest political follies ever in history, or worse to that effect. I mean, she knew, but she had sat in the meetings. The reason why we got rid of her was the poll tax was an excuse, but actually behind, and we have to see the smoke and mirrors in the press, we actually got rid of her because she went, no, Mr. Delors, and she began to really question the whole European experiment.
Of course.
And in my opinion, by 1990, was totally and utterly stitched up. As her agent was saying, it's okay, Margaret, you can go abroad and I'm sure you'll get enough votes for the second round. And then just got totally and utterly stitched.
Disgusting.
And then we look at what happened after that. But no, you are absolutely right.
If we knew what we knew now, she would have definitely been in office for longer. As usual, I could kind of talk all night. We need to book a double session for you. We keep saying this. Thank you. Mark, tell people where they can find you and find out about what the other things you're doing, your filmmaking, your appearances on other shows, et cetera, et cetera. Tell people where they can find you.
That's very kind of you. My website is marksutherland.org. I'm slowly loading up a number of interviews on there. There's my film, The Iris Echo, which is a warning about communism, which is where we seem to be
heading,
sitting at the moment within the world, and a creation of Stasi-esque all over this country and other parts of the world. So you can find me on there, and hopefully I'm loading other shows up all the time that I have the privilege to go on. So
absolutely, and I look forward to being a guest on the Sutherland Report when you get that off the ground. I want to be your first guest.
Yeah, there is a Twitter handle. I'm trying to get used to Periscope and all this, and then in time, once various circumstances are changed, then I can do that. And then you can also find me on Facebook, and I try and do FB Lives too, particularly talking to our American audience, and then with a number of dear friends over here, and just comparing what's going on around the world, because it's happening around the world, all the same things. And I'm just very thankful, praise God, that people are waking up. And they are seeing what's going on, and we have to push back to the best of our ability.
Absolutely, we do. Thank you for fighting and continuing to do so, and thank you for joining us tonight, because it is pretty late in the UK. Thank you to my good friend Mark Sutherland. You can find him at marksutherland.org, and all of his information is on the Xander Gibb show page for this week. But for now, thank you so much, my brother. Have a great week, and go get some sleep.
Pleasure, my friend. Talk to you soon.
Thanks a lot, Mark. Take care. That was Mark Sutherland. You can check him out at marksutherland.org. Tell him that Xander Gibb sent you. That's great. I like to have a little bit of an international feel to the show, and Mark always has a foot in both sides of the pond, which is wonderful. So we moved our phone in. We're now going to take some calls. You can call us if you are in the United States. You can call us on 845-363-4747. That's 845-363-4747. And if you're calling from the United Kingdom, you can call us on 0208-133-5274. That's 0208-133-5274. Oh, yes, sorry. No, I gave you that wrong. You see what my brain is? It is, wait a minute, let me just take a little look-ski there. It is 0208-133-5274. I think that's what I said. It's been a long day, folks, so call us now. If you're calling from America, it's 845-363-4747. And if you are calling from the United Kingdom, you can call me on 0208-133-5274. We've probably got time for one or two calls. Oh yes, Chet CV says Walmart donated about $100 million to Black Lives Matter. Yeah, it's kind of interesting, isn't it? I thought there was supposed to be a cap on donations on how much you were allowed to donate, whether it was a private individual or as a company to political political campaigns. So how come they're getting away with that? It kind of does worry me just a little. Gina says she never goes there. I think she's talking about Walmart. We have a call. Let's bring them on. Hi there. Thank you for calling. You're live on the Xander Gibb Show. What's your name and where are you calling from, Chet?
Zan, you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
There you are. Yeah, I can hear you now.
It sometimes takes a while to equate itself. Absolutely.
Listen, I was gonna do that joke, but it's too nasty. I was thinking about it. I'll have to send you that in Messenger later, and you can tell me if I could do it tomorrow.
Yeah, we don't want to get in trouble again from the FPC. Every time certain guests come on, you get away with a couple of swears, but after a certain amount, they kind of message you and say you have to cut back on the swearing, and I want to say beep 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 you. But exactly. we have to keep it professional. So what has jumped out at you today? What's pissed you off? I mean, there's so much to choose from. Let's face it.
Well, with you and Mr. Sutherland, I wanted to ask, I was listening to the interview, doing some things, and I don't think you talked about this. Did you see what happened to Tommy Robinson?
Yeah, I did. I talked about that at the beginning, and I'm getting rather tired. No, it's absolutely fine. It was in my Xander's news roundup, and I'm getting really concerned that people that step out and try and make a difference. Because let's face it, if there were gangs of Pakistani pedophiles going around and raping little girls, and he highlighted that. And whether you agree with his methodology or not, to me, the safety of children is sacrosanct. But if you are obviously gaining from the continuance of Pakistani pedophile gangs, or you're affected by the fact that this is highlighted, this is why he's having problems, clearly.
Well, that should never be the case, first of all. And second of all, they got to get him out of there. I mean, this is like the third attempt on taking his life for reporting, like you said, this pedophile gang. They have to take care of him. I mean, the guy's going to die. They didn't kill him in jail. He gets out. They try to kill him with arson. This is just unacceptable. He has a family. He has a life. He's a patriot, and he doesn't deserve what he's getting right now.
No.
So I'd like to, reach out, and I don't know if President Trump could do something, or somebody's got to be able to do something, because he's going to end up dead. They have shown time and time again that they want to kill him.
Yeah. And isn't it terrible where we should, what he has done is applaudable. And I also heard, I saw this on TikTok today. Maybe I shouldn't go on there as often apart from to post things, but they were saying that his behavior was Islamophobic. So wait a minute, let's break this down. So because you identify that there's a gang of Muslims, and I'm not saying all Muslims are bad, because there are some good people out there that happen to be Muslim, but if there's a gang of Muslims going around and raping little girls, to highlight that makes you Islamophobic. I'm scratching my head there.
That's a really troubling state of affairs, I would
Yeah.
say, that when anybody rapes a child, it should be a concern, and it should be covered by the news. But the BBC, they weren't covering it. And
No.
the reason Tommy Robinson did was for that very reason. It's when he started covering the story that they decided to throw him in jail, saying that he was spreading false information, which he wasn't,
No.
and attempting to take his life in and out of jail. They gave him some protection when he was behind bars, thank God, but where's the protection when he's out? Now they're trying to, set his family on fire, for God's sakes.
Yeah, it's absolutely. I think the British government have got a role to play in this because really he should be classified as a whistleblower, and they do put protections in place both sides of the pond for people who are classified as whistleblowers. So why aren't they doing that for him? I would love for President Trump to give him American citizenship. I mean, that would be absolutely great because he's the kind of person we need in the United States. We want people that want to make a difference, and they're the kind of people we should be encouraging to come and take up American citizenship, not some of these a-holes that have been given it of late. Even like some people that are in Congress, like Ilhan Omar. Why did that woman ever get citizenship? She hates the United States. I'm convinced she's a Somali asset that she's reporting back to her government. We know she was trained in a terrorist camp because we've seen the videos and the pictures, but yet she's still, she can marry her brother. So she's committed immigration fraud, and as far as I'm aware, one of the facets of having a green card is to stay out of trouble and not commit crime. But surely immigration fraud is a crime.
She's got ties to Iran. She's, I think what she's been doing is spying on our government, or at least facilitating some of our enemies, to say the least. She's a worry. She's dangerous. She's very dangerous. Look at what's happening in Minneapolis right now. You've got basically a third world hellhole in Minneapolis. I wouldn't take a dump in the streets of Minneapolis without worrying that I'd get hepatitis C, A, and B. These, I hate to say it, these people don't belong in America, Xander. They do not belong here. They hate the country. They've been trained to hate the country, and that's why they try to kill patriots like Tommy Robinson, because they want us all to fear them.
Yeah, I think that's a worry. But I think as a government, I'm all for small government, but the government actually owes us a level of protection. And when there are people in public office like this and the other members of the squad, they're not working for America. They're not working to make America great again in any way, shape, or form. And I'm not just stealing the pun. But ultimately, they're working against America. And surely that goes against the ideologies of what our forefathers had in mind for how representatives should act.
It should be something that we're all appalled by.
Yeah.
And the sad part of this story with Tommy is it's gotten very little coverage from conservative media outlets.
Right.
I actually was reading it out of The Independent in the UK. I think Breitbart had it and a few others, but I don't see it on Fox News. We all know why that is. Fox News is they've sold us down the river. They'll be completely left in another 10 years or so. And of course, the great media outlets in America like ABC, CBS, NBC, that are owned by China, CNN, you name it, they're not going to report on it.
No.
Because everyone in the Islamic religion, every single one of them is pure as the driven snow. They're just wonderful people. We got to bring them in. Don't worry about your children and your wives and your goats. Goats' lives matter.
Yeah, goats' lives do matter. Have you noticed, though, that like the last couple of times I've been banned on Facebook, can't broadcast from my main account, has been because of posts I've shared in the past about Tommy Robinson. So you're not allowed to share anything about Tommy Robinson because they see him as a threat. They kind of see him as a terrorist. Yeah. What freaking right do they have to label anyone in any way, shape, or form? Mark Zuckerberg is so freaking ugly, he has to get a mail order break. And then he has the audacity, to label people as terrorists.
Not only that, they'll label Tommy as a terrorist, but when there's obvious attack by a Muslim who's stabbing people in the streets or running people over, or you actually saw there was a story the other night where some leftists tried to run over a bunch of patriots that were supporting the police right here in the United States, they'll say, we're not sure if it was connected to terrorism. What do you mean
Please.
You're not sure? And act like that
Yeah.
with someone of that kind of origin, with that type of name, and come on, don't be so stupid.
Of course.
Everybody needs to understand that when they're committing jihad, they're doing it for a reason. The reason is to kill us.
Yeah, but you see, the thing is that any of these situations, I remember when the guy shut up the Pulse nightclub in Florida, they said, oh, but this is not a terrorist incident. They don't want to use the terrorist word when they're talking about Muslims because they don't want to be accused of being racist. Sorry, I'm flashing the white power symbol again.
Right.
I don't know why.
You know what drives me up the wall, Xander?
What?
When I see some of these, these protests with a lot of the people from the Women's March, or you'll see it with the LGBT, and some of them actually on their knees praying to Mecca.
Wow.
And this is happening in the streets of New York.
Yeah.
And I'm saying to myself, do these people realize that under Sharia law they would be dead?
Yeah, of course.
They'd be dead.
And do you know the other thing that bothers me? As a member of the LGBTQ ABCDEFG community, they support these people, but they will be the first ones to be defenestrated. That's a big word. I know it means thrown off a roof. For those that don't know, they would be the first ones to be thrown off a roof. And there they are supporting them. And Linda Sarsour says, we love the gays. So do the gays in Saudi Arabia get as much love and in places where they're throwing them from roofs for being gay, And this is the kind of regime they're supporting.
Linda Sarsour is doing, Xander, and with any Muslim that comes to you and says that they love gay people, they are lying. That's taqiyya. They do not love gay people. They do not love trans people. They do not love women. What they want to do is make you their slaves kill you.
Yeah, exactly.
It's that simple.
It really is. And we have to leave it there, Chet, but tell people where they can find you, and thank you so much for calling in, my brother.
Oh, man, yeah. So freedomondeck.com, check it out. Sundays, it's on 94.9 News Now and Stimulated Talk. And you can go to freedomondeck.com. Sundays, 3 to 5 p.m. This week, Xander will be with us. We got a lot of good guests. On Friday, I'm going to tell you about some of these guests. You're going to be like, wow, because there's actually a pretty interesting one. Has a big book out about Michael Jackson. So that's going to be a good one. And I'll be talking to you Friday, man, and I'll probably be talking to you tomorrow, won't I?
Absolutely, and be sure to tune in to Freedom on Deck for more news about Michael. Okay, brother. Thanks a lot, and I will speak to you very soon, I'm sure. Thanks a lot.
Bravo,
Cheers.
Blue.
Thank you. That was Chet Martin from Freedom on Deck. Make sure you go check him out at freedomondeck.com. Thanks to everyone who's made today's show possible. Thanks to everyone in the live feed. Far too many to name. Thanks to my first guest tonight, Mark Sutherland. You can check him out at marksutherland.org. Not had your fill of the Gibster. You can check me out 5 nights a week, 5 Pacific, 7 Central, 8 Eastern, 1 in the UK, and 10 a.m. the next day in Australia. Join us tomorrow for more scintillating chat when CV Burton from Freedom on Deck joins us. Thank you so much for watching. I really do love you all. Please click the share button, share the show, go click like on the Xander Gibb Show page. Stay safe out there. I've been Xander Gibb, and I really love you all. Bye-bye.
It has been good to me this time around. Things were never bound to change when it was found. Sugar never tasted sweeter on my lips. My heart is now intact, and I can find no rest. This is love, yeah, love. Never known true love before. Seen so many counter
the bell button and subscribe to keep up with the Xander Gibb Show. Oh yes,